Hello, fellow plant enthusiasts. So a while back I had purchased 2 African violets. One was in a smaller pot, and I got these on clearance, and they've bloomed several times, and one was in a bigger pot. This was only $1, that one was $3 because it was in a larger pot. But even though I had them side by side and watered them at the same time, this one is suffering. So I don't want to lose this one. I like the flowers of both of these. So I bought these containers to do a wicking setup with. But the problem is, the pots I found were small, but I have some older ones that fit. Now, just for an illustration, I have 2 different kinds. One of them sits higher up, and you have some that will sit right on top too, but these 2 are thicker, flimsy, they'll last longer. Or one that sits a little further down but is shorter. So this one, if it goes down to there, you see how it hangs lower. So I really want to go with the shorter pot at reviving that one. So you can see that this goes to here where my thumb is, and this goes a little higher. So this is the one I'm going to use. Now, before I start, I'm going to actually remove the label at the bottom and put some plant padding or some padding to keep it from scuffing up countertops. I have several different colors of craft foam, and I have different sizes of circle punches. So I'm just going to put a few in there. And it's going to provide adequate padding. A lot of pots, when you buy them in stores, will put only 3 typically, sometimes more, but I like to put more. And I should have had these more to the periphery, so I'm going to move them. You can always peel and move, it's fine. Just make that there. So we have that. We have the smaller pot that's going in there, and I have some wicks. Now the wicks, I have basically cotton cording that were left over from a macrame project I'm working on. Hopefully I'll be posting a video of that soon. So these 2 are longer. And all I'm going to do for wicking is stick them in there. I can put them side by side or in opposition. I'm going to do them in opposition. But this one, the plastic is, like when they punch the hole or mold them, is thin or sticking out. So anyway, you're going to pull these out to about the same length and do the same thing on the other side. I didn't bother rinsing this pot before, even though it's used. I guess I could have, but I'm just too lazy to. And it's going to be filled with dirt, but the outside could have been cleaned a bit, but I can always do that at a later date when I'm not feeling lazy. There we go. So now I can move these out of the way and work on this thing where I'm going to pull it up out of the soil. You can see the roots are shallow, but it's still rooted. They haven't fully rotted, so hopefully this thing can survive. I need my pruners to prune these off, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull them out. Look at that stem. Whoever thought that African violets just get taller and taller over time? I could, while I'm doing this, take a leaf. Well, this one's wilted. It won't be much use. And propagate. But I'm going to hopefully get this to survive and grow. It's still alive, so that's good. I don't know why it suffered root rot, but it did. Or if it did suffer root rot, or what the deal is with this one. I'm going to leave those 2 dying ones on for now. And I'm going to just... This soil is too moist, so it probably did get overwatered. But I want to actually use soil that has a little more perlite in it. So I'm going to put a little bit of the moist stuff at the bottom just so that these drainage holes, the excess stuff doesn't fall through. And then I'm going to pull the string up a little bit. Ooh, if you see, that fell in. So that means I'm going to need to go with the other one. I thought this one was tight enough. So you should always see and push it in. Okay, that's going to work. So now I get these in, or I'm getting these through there. So that's a tricky thing when you buy these hurricane candle jars, is what they're called. I don't know why they call them hurricane. It doesn't look very cyclonic to me. But anyway, you know, hurricanes are basically tropical cyclones for the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific region. Whereas in the Western Pacific, like off Japan, they're called severe cyclonic storms. And then in the Indian Ocean, tropical cyclones. But the general term is tropical cyclone for hurricane-like storms. You also have these type of storms with similar features found in the polar regions. Not much information is found on them because most of the research is tailored to where the population lives, and people live more along coastal areas and more warmer climates than, you know, the far northern reaches along the Arctic Ocean. So consequently, there's not as much research done on them. But that's just a little bit of worthless information, probably don't care about. So anyway, now I'm going to put perlite. And soil, because it does a little better than just plain soil. I'm going to stick this in here. Wow, look how big this one is. I never knew that with African violets. But this is going to allow the plant to be wet but still breathe, and African violets like to be in constant moisture, but they also do need to breathe. They're not plants that will like to be submerged like certain plants to where they can handle. Okay, this leaf broke, but it's still very solid. I'm going to try and propagate that. But in case anyone's curious, the African violet likes a lot of light, lots of bright light, long daylight hours. They hail from Tanzania, which is commonly mispronounced as Tanzania. So keep that in mind, it's referred to as Tanzania. And they only entered cultivation either in the US or just in general around 1924, 25. And you can actually propagate these with ease, just like you do pepperoni leaves or Venus flytraps or cephalotus, you know, the Australian pitcher plant. But I'm going to just clear this out to shake off any of the excess. And I am good to go. I can now water it. And it has plenty of media that can be more breathable, and hopefully this thing will survive and grow. But I like this if it's more centered, so I'm going to make it grow straight up. Okay, there we go. And then this one I can propagate it by sticking it in the soil. So I may do a small setup for this, or I have a little terrarium area I'll plant it in, or semi-terrarium. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative, and if this survives, I'll probably make another video with it sometime. So make sure you subscribe to my channel to keep up to date. Thanks for watching, and happy planting.